reject woke ideology. We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
All right, whatever you think of the latest entrant in the Republican race for president right now, Nikki Haley, the latest, and there will be others, quite a few others, we're told. It is Ron DeSantis that captures at least the attention of the Republican Party as an early front runner for that nomination. Anything can and usually does happen. Let's go to Jimmy Patronis, the CFO, I should say, of Florida. Yes, they have such a thing, and Jimmy's that guy. Very good to have you, Jimmy. Thank you for coming. You know, much has been made of the various types of candidates who are interested in running for the White House, but I always feel that if you're a governor, oftentimes you have a bit of a leg up. Not all the time. We've elected plenty of senators president, from, you know, John Kennedy, and obviously taking a look at what's happening with Joe Biden. So there is plenty of room for others. But a governor, especially a governor who could point to accomplishments seen in the eye of the beholder, obviously, depending on who they are, that's a pretty strong thing going. And that a governor, it might not be DeSantis, is going to get this nomination. Do you buy that?
Well, look, it's an honor to be with you. Thank you for what you do. Look, Governor DeSantis and I got elected in 2018 together. It was a different environment in 2018. We just got elected in Florida again in November by the largest margin ever. I give a lot of the credit to that wide margin that we all benefited from because of his leadership and what he showed. And to your exact point, his accomplishments as he has led the state of Florida. My office is the opposite of the hallway of his, and I see him work the legislature. I see him getting prepared for the legislative session, and he takes this job as being governor of the free state of Florida incredibly seriously.
You know, your very presence might indicate that, how seriously it takes just a business operation of a state and run it like it a business. Make sure you submit balanced budgets, make sure you don't go over, to run it as aggressively as you would a company, where in this case the shareholders are voters. Not too many states have CFOs, but that's a strategy, isn't it?
Well, let me give you a little bit of history. The state of Florida, so I'm starting my 17th year. I grew up in the restaurant business. I never thought that I would ever be the CFO of the state of Florida. But over my last 16 years, this is the best fiscal health that the state of Florida has ever been in, period. Over the last 4 years, we've had a AAA bond rating.
Your role is elevated in that time, right? I mean, part of the strategy is what to...
Oh, yeah.
Florida's always beckoned with the low tax environment and what have you, and a lot of people escaping high tax environments, but it did pick up steam over the last few years. What do you credit Governor DeSantis with doing to make that happen?
So we can just look at how his response was with COVID. And there's no surprise because of his response with COVID that there's a national dialogue on whether or not he'll run for president. Again, his track record has created lightning in a bottle, and there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out how to capture the magic that he has created in Florida.
You know, Jimmy, he's obviously created some tension with his former confidant and friend, Donald Trump, who now we're told is coming up with names to call him. And one, of course, is Ron DeSanctimonious. You've heard them all. The governor doesn't respond to that. He doesn't respond to Donald Trump bringing up stuff from many, many years ago. But the strategy seems to kill him in the crib, it would seem to me. What do you make of that?
Well, I see the governor's response to all this is fighting against the dysfunction out of Washington, D.C. and Joe Biden. We've got out of control inflation. We've got an administration that's not shooting straight with the American public on what we shot down, when we shot it down, and why we let it surveil our whole entire country before we had any action on it. So, again, I think the governor has been wise to be focused on the state of Florida, at the same time building out why Florida is functional and why Washington is dysfunctional.
Do you think he'll take on Mr. Trump and personally respond?
I think we would all like to know the answer to that story. But here's what I do know. There's a lot of time before that decision's got to be made, before the next presidential election. But this governor right now, as I can tell you, I'll be with him Wednesday in Okaloosa. We're traveling the state. We've got a legislative session coming up this spring, and that's what we're focused on.
Would you be his Treasury Secretary?
You know, right now I just like being the husband to Katie Patronis. So any decisions mine going forward is lying in her hands. I just got past Valentine's Day. So.
I just thought I'd catch you at a weak moment. Jimmy Patronis, Florida CFO. Jimmy, thank you seriously very, very much.